I bought a laptop from a brand that, honestly, most people have probably never heard of, FIREBAT. When I ordered it, there was barely any reviews, so it was a real gamble. But after almost 9 months of using it, I can finally answer the question, was this a good buy or money down the drain? Honestly, I wasn't planning to buy this specific brand at all. I need a laptop for taking to the countryside, for trips, for work, watching videos, scrolling, just everyday portability. I wanted a decent processor, more RAM, and ideally not for a fortune. And that's when I came across this laptop. I know basically nothing about the brand, there were almost no reviews, so I bought it completely at my own risk. The packaging is about as simple as it gets. Box inside box, the laptop, the charger, and the business card, nothing more. Let's talk about the design. First thing I like, the chassis is fully metal, it weighs 1.8 kilograms, so it fits easily in a backpack and doesn't feel like a brick. The finish is matte, it doesn't pick up fingerprints, so you don't have to wiping it down. The lid opens a bit stiffly, you cannot lift it with one finger, you need to hold the base down. On the plus side, the hinge angle is great, the screen folds back almost flat. Building quality overall feels solid, typing is comfortable, the keys are soft and quiet. The trackpad responds well, the fans are quiet, but you'll hear them under heavy load. It boots up in about 11 to 12 seconds, there are no fingerprint scanner, which is super convenient, you have to type your password every time. On the plus side, the seller claimed there room to upgrade with a second SSD. I haven't opened it up myself, so I can confirm that. 4 ports, on the left side 2 USB-C ports, 1 USB and HDMI. On the right side, a microSD slot, 2 more USB ports, an aux jack, and the Kensington lock. Let's start with the display. It's a 2K plus panel, 2560 by 6000 with a 120 Hz refresh rate. I check it for dead pixels and light bleed, no dead pixels, but there are noticeable light bleed along the edges. For everyday use, it's not a deal breaker, it doesn't bother me. Color reproduction pleasantly surprised me, the picture is vibrant and the view angles are quite wide. Now to the hardware. And this is where things get unexpectedly serious. Ryzen 7 8745HC, integrated Radeon 7 8am graphics, and a full 32GB of DDR5 RAM. Looks very solid on paper, but it's more interesting to see how it actually performs in real life. In Cinebench 2024 multi-core test, 2038 points at the time of testing that placed it 10th in ranking among all processors in the benchmark database. Honestly, I didn't expect that from a relatively affordable laptop. Single core scores 447 points, also solid. The SSD turned out to be fast too. Crystallis Mark shows around 5.9 gigabits per second read and about 1.7 gigabits per second write. More than enough for everyday use. But synthetic benchmark are one thing, video editing is completely different story. I exported my real 7 minutes video, the source in the project were mixed, some in Full HD, some in 4K, and I exported the final version in 4K, 60 FPS with a high bitrate. I'll say it upfront, there wasn't an easy task. Upscaling to 4K puts more strain on the processor than a straightforward export at the source resolution. So I deliberately don't pick the easy path. I wanted to test the laptop at its limit. The export took about half an hour, and in this half hour the laptop drained almost 80% of its battery. But here's the important context. This was a genuinely demanding test. If you export at the source resolution without upscaling, the battery will obviously last much longer. Still, the takeaway is simple. If you're planning to edit somewhere, in a cafe or on the go, you better find an outlet first. On the flip side, everyday use is a lot more pleasant. Dozens of tabs, YouTube, music, documents, the laptop doesn't break a sweat. Writing a document, watching a movie, replying to emails, all completely fine. Battery, as we already established, turned out to be the weak spot. If editing can drain it in a single export, everyday everyday use is noticeably better, but don't expect miracles. In my case, the laptop lasted around 3 to 4 hours. Thermals, on the other hand, are barely an issue. Under heavy load, the chassis gets noticeably warm, but I didn't find it uncomfortable. Both phones run efficiently and fairly quick. The charger maxes out at 100 watts, the cable is detachable, and the brick itself is on the heavier side. A full charge takes about an hour and a half. Naturally, I wanted to see what their integrated Radeon 780M could handle. Keep in mind there are no Discord GPU here. In CS2 on ultra settings, FPS ranged from 21 to 38, averaging around 33 with some stuttering. But honestly, nobody plays CS2 on ultra, so let's look at medium setting instead. There's jump to 51, 65 FPS, averaging around 59. Playable, no stuttering. Keep in mind, I have OBS running in the background for recording, which also aid into performance a bit. In Dota 2, on ultra settings, a stable 40 FPS, no stuttering, though that game is more CPU bounded than graphics demanding. For something lighter, some indie games, this laptop handled that just fine. In Repo, for example, I average 110 FPS, perfect if you want to mess around with friends for an evening. I wouldn't recommend buying this laptop specifically for games, but if you get the itch to play something, it's totally doable. The laptop has a built-in webcam with a privacy shutter for everyone worries about that. It's fine for work calls, but a lot depends on lighting. If light hits you directly, the picture looks decent, but with side lighting the camera struggles. Still, good enough for work. I also tested the microphone, you will hear how it handles things right now. Let's also test the microphone in case you need it for calls or quick voice notes. Starting in a quiet room, just my voice, no background noise. Now the same thing, but with music playing in the background. Let's see if it can filter that out or not, I don't know. The speakers sound acceptable overall. Fine if you're watching movies or listening to music, but not particularly loud, and in my opinion, a bit flat. If you're serious about music, a good pair of headphones or a speaker will give you a completely different experience. So, is FIREBAT worth buying? To sum up, the internals are solid. If you need a laptop for work, studying, browsing, movies, and occasional light editing, absolutely yes, just with one smaller task. Battery life isn't its strong suit. But if you constantly work in Premiere, heavy software, or want a gaming laptop, I'd look at something else in a higher price bracket. Pros? Generally good hardware for the price, a nice metal chassis, a vibrant screen, and the options to game once in a while. Cons? LED it on the side of the screen, no fingerprint scanner, battery that lasts up to 4 hours, meaning you'll need to hunt for an outlet, and the sound wasn't really my favorite either. For what I need it for, it's more than enough. So, this time I really lucked up with a known brand. And what laptop are you rocking right now? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching!